So welcome to another Zenler podcast. Today I have the privilege of welcoming Kirsty Van Den Bulk to us. So she's going to introduce herself and she's going to tell you all about the subject she's talking about today. Hi, Kirsty.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. Over to you.
So today I'm talking about the human element and why it is so important to make sure you have that in your marketing. And the way to bring your human element is actually to speak on camera. Now, I know that's going to make you feel a little bit like, oh, I'm scared. You have to embrace video today. With the birth of AI, it is more important to be seen and on camera than it's ever been. The mistakes and your ums and your ahs and not looking perfect are what will bring that creativity and that connection to your audience.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's something that a lot of people are worried about being on camera. So what would you say to people that are worried about actually being on camera themselves?
Well, the first thing is you do you, you know you, and you do you better than anybody else. And the second thing is nobody knows what you're going to say anyway. And the third thing is you don't have to post the video if you've recorded it. And the fourth thing is don't watch yourself back, just listen, because what you say is far more important than actually what you look like or how you are on camera. A lot of people get caught up thinking, I've got to look perfect, I've got to have the best makeup, I've got to wear the right clothes, I've got to this, I've got to that. And all these got tos are actually what layer on the pressure. And actually what you need to do is going, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I call them magical mistakes, inspired by my daughter, because the magical mistakes are actually what will allow that human connection with the audience. It brings your human element, and it's the one thing that AI can't fake. So instead of thinking what I've got to do, start thinking about just doing it. Have a go. It's not going to be perfect. Nothing ever is. Perfection is a moving target that you can never catch up to. So if you stop thinking about perfection and start thinking about just doing, you will be empowered to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, perfect. It's the other thing is, of course, you can edit stuff. So try things out in front of the camera. Now, this is all about sort of basically AI replacing you and things like, we see it now, like deep faking.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of that stuff going on. But if you're looking at it, it's very robotic, isn't it?
So I was looking at some deep faking stuff yesterday, actually, and it was just a silly test on one of the social platforms. And what's interesting with deep faking is if you scan in and you go into a picture, you will see it pixelate, and you will see that what supposedly looks like a necklace or a flower actually cannot be replicated. So there is a limitation within the AI, the way that it works. It cannot create mistakes. It is logical rather than illogical. I mean, yes, we'd all like to be Dr. Spock, but we're not. And it's that humanity that AI just can't create. And if you start looking at trying to use AI as to replicate your voice, it misses the ums and ahs. It doesn't have the tonality. It doesn't use the incorrect words that we use as humans in our speech. So when I talk, I've just done it now, I will say so an awful lot. AI won't put that so in. It will be rigid. It will be regimented. And you can tell the difference, particularly if you're listening to a robotic voice over a human voice, because you have emotions, your rhythm changes, your nerves will come in, you will get excited, your voice will fluctuate, and AI doesn't.
Absolutely. And the other thing about it is that sometimes funny things happen on camera, like even falling off your chair. These can be so funny, but more importantly, they build a massive connection between you and your audience. And this is a key thing at the moment. The technology, we know technology is amazing and AI is going in leaps and bounds, and we don't know, literally every week things are changing, and we don't know how it's going to fit into everything that's going. A lot of people are very scared about losing jobs and all these sort of things, and being told that if they learn AI then they can stay on that route if they want to do that. But this human element, this whole human element behind stuff is always going to be there.
Completely.
But I think of it as an exciting time because this is where you get to show off humanity. This is a good thing in a way, because you get to show humanity to people. You get to show your sense of humor, all these sort of things. And I was talking to Kirsty before the podcast, and we had quite a funny thing where we were just talking and we go off on a tangent. We'd be talking about, things like physicists talk about. Honestly, we were there and then we were there. There's no way that an AI can do that. It's crazy, so it's never going to be like that. I love those sort of conversations that I know Kirsty does as well. I have to be really careful we don't jump off topic with this.
I won't let you. I really won't. But you are right. I just flicked my hair as we were talking. AI won't do that because it's not programmed to do it. And that's the thing, is AI is programmed. I've worked intensely over the since February with AI to really get to grips with how it works and push the boundaries. And I've got to the point now that whether I'm using ChatGPT or Bard or some other platform, they will literally come back and go, I am a robotic, I am an intelligence source, something like this. I'm an intelligence source, or I'm auto-generated information. I cannot write that, because I'm asking it to do things which is stretching its boundaries. It's not, I'm asking it to write a social media post. And yes, it can do that. And it does it very well, very salesy. But it can do that. At the same time, if you are writing anything over 1,000 words, you want to make sure you have checked that. In fact, I would go as far as to say anything over 500 words, you want to go and check it in an AI checker, because if you are copying and pasting something directly from an AI generated piece of software, you are then going to be affected, because you are going to be knocked down on your SEO. You are going to be knocked down on your reach, because you can tell it is AI written. So you can do and check, and you can find out that it will say 98% written by AI rather than 100% human. So always edit.
Yeah, it's quite funny actually on that point. I was writing, my style of writing is I try and put a bit of humor in there, but I actually put it into an AI checker and it came up 87% AI. I was really distraught. Emotionally, I almost had therapy over it.
It's a useful tool, but it cannot create that human element. It just can't bring it. There is a real limit on what it can do. It is great for shaping things. It's great for springboarding. It's great for if you're stuck for creative ideas, but you've got to rework it. And the one thing it will not, and I know at some point it will, and we've got green screen, we've got animation, and of course we are pushing the boundaries there as well, but it cannot recreate your genuine mistakes. It cannot recreate your genuine habits. So it's your habits that your audience are connecting to. For me, it's the so's without the comma, or the fact that I am going to flick my hair, I am going to move around, I am going to twist in my chair while I'm doing a video. It's those things that my audience have come to know, like, and trust. And if I started to put AI in, it wouldn't do them, because it's not perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you think though that maybe people that are not used to being on camera or really camera shy might start looking at AI as a replacement, so that they can almost get out of doing that part of it, because maybe they're so scared, or maybe they think that their voice isn't good enough, or those kind of things? Do you think this could happen? Do you think there'll be a lot more AI content coming out because of this?
I know it's happening, and that's the really sad aspect of it. Is I think it's layering on more of this fear. It's like, well, I'm not perfect, so I think it's layering on more perfection, and so people are turning to AI to present their courses. Now, I can't bear it when I go to click onto an online course and there I am with a bot trying to coach me or teach me something. So I lose. You're not going to get my money if you're using a bot. You're not going to, it doesn't, I need that human element. So yes, people are doing it. And I really urge people to stop. If you are that petrified of going on camera, that's not just me that coaches on camera technique. There are others. And we're not looking at perfection. We're looking at layering you, giving you the confidence, empowering you to be you. And it's really important that I'm going to keep stressing it, that you are you on camera. You're not a clone of Kirsty Van Den Bulk. You're not a clone of some other coach. You are 100% you, because people buy from people. And so if you try to be something you're not, the camera will pick it up. The camera will see through that lack of authenticity. And so you've got to be you. So find a coach that will help you layer on and actually get you comfortable with your magical mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's it, and I think that it's going to be interesting because like, I can see if you think about like so if someone deep fake me and they put me in, I think what I would do is I might even myself just have a little play around with it. So like have the AI on and me and have a conversation with it. It would be quite interesting. So you could almost turn it into fun, and you could, if you had me and then you had the AI version of me sitting next to me, you would be able to tell the difference very, very quickly. You know, probably because I'd push him off the stool.
Well, interesting. I tested an AI public speaking bit of kit just to see, and it was talking about you're talking too fast, you're talking too. That's lovely. But what it couldn't tell me was the reason I was talking too fast at that point was because I was animated. I was excited. I was sharing a story. And so it couldn't pick up on that simple thing that I was sharing something that was exciting. It thought I was talking too fast. And I think that's a really kind of one of the, again, the limits I'm talking about with AI is, yes, you could go and download this software and you can learn how to public speak, but you will end up being robotic. You will end up being what the software dictates you to be, rather than being authentically you and working with the fact that it's okay to get excited. What you need to do is recognize when you are and then put it back and think about pegging those words on a washing line. So you slow your talk down so you can still be animated and excited, but you're not gabbling it at such a pace that nobody can understand you.
Yeah, that's another thing as well, the importance of rhythm when you're presenting. And there's so many things. I mean, you know, Kirsty's talked to me about these things a lot and she's been on different shows with me as well. So I know all these things that she's talking about that are so incredibly important, and emphasizing certain things. And now I'll look at you talking faster, you think, oh, you're excited, but maybe you're not, you know, able not, but it won't be able to tell because it's just like, that's the way, or you stop and pause and then it will try and interpret what you're doing, but it'll never interpret what you're doing because we are individuals, you know, we are individuals and we are random. This is the beauty of it, you know, this random thing that we do that you can't quantify, you can't put it down. You can try to, and that's what AI does because it is a program. But I think with AI, using it as a tool, and that is, I think, the key word that people need to get into their head. AI is a tool we use, yeah, and nothing else. And it should not be in the spotlight. That's your job. Be in front of the camera and be there and be central to it. If you're shy on camera, just get used to it. You know, I was when I started, I'm sure Kirsty was as well. It's really hard when you first start, but then you do a couple of hundred, you'll be like, this is easy.
It's interesting what you're saying, because what AI can't do is replicate your own thought. It can't replicate the way that you will do something. You might dry. So as an actor, when I was acting, I dried on stage a few times. And you've got to get yourself out of that hole because you've got the whole audience looking at you. When you're on a live, like you're talking, you've got to get yourself out the hole. You've got to think, how do I get out of this? And it's the thought. It's that, like you were talking about earlier, flipping the conversation, moving it back and forth, not knowing where it's going to go, not predetermining it, keeping that thought agile. And that is human. It is not AI.
Yeah, it is. And also the other thing is, you're taking away your fun. You know, it's like today, yeah, we have fun. We're talking, you're talking with another human being, and you don't want to take that away from yourself. That's the whole point. That's why you are an entrepreneur, or you're on camera, or you're a presenter, or you're doing online courses. You know, you want this. This is what you want. Why would you take it away from yourself by putting something else in front of the camera that is not you? You're the star of the show. You're your own brand. You know, you do you best, as Kirsty would say. So it's, you know, that's what you need to think.
So I like the word fear. And the reason I like the word fear is because you can break it down to face everything and rise. And if you start thinking, okay, and the other thing that when you start to feel nervous, if you acknowledge it, like I was saying to my guest on my last podcast, it's okay to get nervous. And if you acknowledge you're nervous, so you can take a breath. And if you're live, you can say, oh, I just got nervous. It's okay to get nervous and acknowledge it, because again, that allows that vulnerability and it allows the humanity. And again, that's that connection, which AI would never turn around live on camera or in the middle of a podcast go, oh, I got nervous. And yet every single person who's listening would be able to connect to that, because at some point we've all got nervous. So one of the things that was really interesting with fear and facing everything and rise is I was playing with some AI content and AI imagery. So of course you can create this, as you were talking about earlier, deep faking and imagery. And I typed in public speaking, and honestly, the AI image looks petrified. And I mean, it was one of those things where I said, well, I can't use that. I'm not going to go to market. I appreciate that I put public speaking, but the way the AI looked, and it did look like an animated human rather than a human, but they were petrified. It was hysterical.
This has been all about AI and how, you can never replace you, and you've got that sort of human element, which is you are the star of the show. So how do you want to finish up this? What do you want to say to people? What's your final thought, Kirsty, on this?
I think going back to the original thought that you do you, and you do you better than anybody else, and nobody knows what you're going to say. What I would say is one of the most important things, particularly if it's business and you're going on camera for a video with your business, is to really think about what you say and how you say it. So think about the positive, empowering words. Think about staying on brand and using your key messages, using your SEO, because if you use your SEO, you're going to get another bite of the cherry when you put your subtitles on. But you also know your key messages, you know them, you know your company values. And so you've always got that to rely on if you dry. So you can always pick it up. So the other thing is, if you are going to use slides, keep the slides really, really, really simple, but always put a visual on there that is about what you're talking about, so that if you do dry, you've got a comeback point too. So make sure that you've got places to go that you can pick things up, so that, because inevitably you're going to dry at some point. Inevitably you're going to walk up there and you will find yourself going, don't know. And the good thing at that point is, if you acknowledge that again and say, do you know what, I forgot what I was going to say, you're taking ownership and it won't own you. So I would say go and have fun, test it out. Don't be afraid to public speak. But if you are petrified of going on camera or public speaking, go find somebody that will help you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kirsty. That is great tips there as well. And honestly, go, and if you are worried, go and see a coach. Kirsty's amazing. Go and see her. She'll book you in, and you should talk about the problems. And I'll tell you what, it's amazing how quick you get better. Things like ahs, these sort of things, they can literally be solved with a couple of words. It literally can be that quick. A little bit of thinking behind what you're doing, slowing yourself down, giving yourself a little bit of time between the first sentence and the next, and you can eliminate lots of the big problems that you think you are facing. And you might find, even if they look at your video, so there's nothing wrong with you, it's in your mind. So get that out of your mind. So these coaches are absolutely priceless for you making money online. You're going to make so much money online by being in front of the camera and doing this stuff yourself. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much, Kirsty. That was brilliant. Kirsty will be popping up on more of these podcasts if I can twist her arm. So she's very, very busy. So I really feel very privileged. So look, Kirsty has done a blog post on this subject. That's going to be in the description, and we'll put it on screen now. You can also see Kirsty's website if you want to go and visit her. It's kvdb.co.uk. Okay, so you can go and just register or just say hi to her. It's all good. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for taking the time with us today to be on our little Zenler podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.